Hearing about the facilities provided by the government for disabled individuals in Bangladesh often evokes a bitter laugh, though at times it brings tears to my eyes. On one hand, there's the disability allowance, a paltry 850 taka per month, a so-called generous gift. How is a disabled person supposed to meet their daily needs with this amount? It barely covers a week's transportation costs. On the other hand, there's the education stipend for disabled students, as if the government is handing out 2 pieces of candy with a patronizing, "Here, take this and that too, but don't expect your hunger to be satisfied." These 2 separate programs feel like the government is tossing tiny crumbs of bread at disabled individuals saying, "Here, survive on this." But the real question is, can one truly live on such meager scraps? Like many others, I often wonder if, instead of these 2 disjointed initiatives, a more integrated policy could be adopted. For instance, if the disability allowance were increased to somewhere between 4,000 and 4,500 taka, would there even be a need for a separate education stipend? With this enhanced allowance, disabled students could cover their educational expenses themselves. Currently, with just 850 taka, what can a disabled person do? Should they spend it on tea and snacks, or buy books and notebooks? This amount doesn't even cover a week's rickshaw fare, yet the government seems to believe it's enough to sustain a disabled person's livelihood. Isn't that laughable? And then, on top of this, they offer an education stipend saying, "Go study. But how can someone without money for transportation get to school? Where will they find the funds to buy books?" This stipend, then, is much like the proverbial elephant's tusk, beautiful to look at but utterly useless in practice. Some might argue, if the allowance is increased, where will the money come from? This question makes me wonder, are we so impoverished as a nation that we can't manage a few thousand taka per month for our disabled citizens? The government of Bangladesh earns billions of taka annually in revenue from the sale of cigarettes and tobacco products. If even a small fraction of that revenue were allocated to the Disability Allowance Fund, would it really be so difficult? Imagine if the price of each cigarette pack were increased by just 1 taka, and that extra amount were directed to the Disability Fund. Smokers might puff a little less, while disabled individuals could smile a little more. Wouldn't that be a fair trade? Beyond tobacco, the government has numerous other revenue streams from which funds could be reallocated or saved to support this cause. The issue isn't about money, it's about the will to act. What would happen if a unified policy increased the disability allowance? First, the quality of life for disabled individuals would improve, even if just a little. The humiliation of surviving on 850 taka would be replaced by a sense of dignity with 4,500 taka, fostering a newfound confidence. Second, there would be no need for the hassle of a separate education stipend. Students could use the increased allowance to buy books, travel to school, and focus on their studies. Third, the complexities of managing 2 separate programs, endless paperwork, delays in distribution, would be eliminated. Isn't this then a golden opportunity for disabled individuals? Yet, we remain stuck in the same old story of 850 taka, while disabled people, the protagonists of this tale, continue to live in deprivation. Increasing the allowance isn't just a matter of financial calculation. It's a reflection of the state's respect for its disabled citizens. It sends a message: you are a part of our society, and we are here for you. But what's happening in reality? With 850 taka, we're essentially mocking their struggles. Is this respect, or is it an insult? Are disabled individuals waiting for a life where they must count every penny of this meager sum to survive each month? No, they seek dignity, opportunities, and a path to integrate into the mainstream of society. To pave that path, we must move beyond the dual policies of disability allowance and education stipends and adopt a unified, practical approach. I make this heartfelt plea to the government: Pay attention to the needs of disabled individuals. Increase their allowance, make their lives a little easier. This isn't just their right, it's our collective responsibility. A society can only be considered developed when every individual, including every disabled person, can live with their head held high. These words may seem sharp to some, but this sharpness reflects the harsh reality of disabled individuals' lives. They await a new dawn, and to bring that dawn, we must all step forward together.